What's up, founders? How's it going? Welcome to another hot take. In today's video, we are going to be talking about the biggest marketing mistakes that founders make in their SaaS companies. I absolutely love this topic, and I'm not gonna lie, I'm gonna have a lot of fun with this one. I'm like feeling heated already, just even thinking about it. First and foremost, they do not ask the right questions to their customers. I know that if you've been following me for a while, you know that I am all about that customer research. I'm all about talking to your customers, asking them questions, and really truly getting down in the nitty-gritty about where they hang out, how they spend their time, what do they care about, what motivates them, what makes them them. What I find is that founders absolutely talk to customers. I mean, you're probably answering support tickets. You're probably, trying to get feedback on a new feature or even really understand what kind of feature that you need to be building. You might also be talking to people who've churned and trying to gain those accounts back, or people, maybe you're B2C. You're probably talking to people in some kind of way. But what I find is super common when it comes to marketing is that they're just not asking the right questions when it comes to marketing. There's so many different parts to marketing. Like you can do customer research from an acquisition perspective. You can do customer research from an activation or even a retention perspective. But because of that, because there's no real clear goal in mind, they end up asking the wrong questions from the get-go. And they never actually ask the questions that help them accomplish their goal in the first place. So if you're going to do customer research, if you're going to do interviews, make sure that you actually have your goal in mind and that your questions will help you get to those answers. So if you're doing interviews to figure out acquisition channels, make sure that your questions actually help you unpack acquisition channels. And there's all kinds of ways that you can ask those questions as well. So just make sure that you're asking the right questions. Make sure that you have an actual goal in mind for your research and for what you're ultimately trying to understand about your customers. The second thing, founders jump into paid media way too early. We've all been there. We've all read the article about how you can set up a Facebook ad account or an AdWords account and immediately start driving leads and traffic to your website and immediately start getting signups and maybe even customers. But here's the thing. Most founders aren't prepared for the funnel that comes with that. And so they jump into paid media way too early. And what's worse is they do it terribly too. I mean, they maybe read a few articles. They don't take any courses. They don't spend any time really truly understanding and building a strategy and a funnel and doing the whole thing. They think it is as simple as just starting up an ad campaign. And I don't blame them because we've all been there. I've been there. Pretty much every single company I've ever worked with or for has been there. So I don't blame anyone on that. But I will say that 9 times out of 10, they just jump on paid media way too early. They get burnt out. They feel like marketing doesn't work, even though that was one channel and one way to approach it. But that said, just jumping on it way too early. When paid media works, it's because you already understand the customer journey. You understand who it is that you're targeting. You understand what you want to put in front of them to make them even interested in what you have to say or have to offer. It's not because you just put out an ad and the prospect accidentally fell on it and was like, oh yeah, I'm going to sign up. This looks great. It doesn't exactly work like that. Now that's not to say that it cannot work. There are absolutely just paid media strategies that you can leverage to generate paying customers. But it's because we understand what is the right message, what is the right segment to target, and where are they at in their journey. So that way it's not a surprise, but we have the right offer at the right time. That's really where paid media super duper works. But 9 times out of 10, none of that work was ever actually done. They just jump on the paid media channel and they just kind of cross their fingers and hoped and prayed that it was going to do something. If you're going to do paid media, take several courses. One that I absolutely love is the Science of Facebook Ads by Moitza Mars or Super Spicy Media. I really hope that I said her name right. But she is absolutely badass. And when it comes to Facebook ads, I 100,000,000% trust her expertise and her knowledge. She does have a course available. I highly recommend that you take it if you are interested in not just Facebook ads, but you can take a lot of her knowledge and apply it to AdWords, to Instagram, to Twitter, to all of these other channels. That said, highly recommend that if you're gonna do it, make sure that you really truly understand what you're getting into, and also what part of the journey are you ultimately trying to bring people in? What is your goal? Is it, because if it's to generate trials, but you're wasting a lot of time with top of the funnel activity, then it might not actually pay off for you. So just keep that in mind. That actually brings me into number 3. There's this really big misconception about marketing in that you absolutely, as a founder, have to build marketing from the top of the funnel and then nurture people all the way down to the bottom of the funnel. So they think that they have to approach marketing and the marketing cycle from a top-down perspective. I actually disagree, and I find that founders who reverse engineer their funnel are just way better off. Now, what do I mean by that? There's this common misconception that if you spend a lot of time with people who are unaware of the pain and they don't really get it, they don't have the pain, don't care to understand the pain, you feel compelled to create marketing to educate those people, to get them to really care, and then maybe one day they actually solve the pain with your product. And that's definitely a way to approach it. And it's not even necessarily a bad way. It's just slow. It's really slow. And don't get me wrong, you're going to have to do that at some point in your career. When you get to year 3 and year 4 and you've brought on all of the early adopters and all the innovators in your market, and now you've got to go after the late adopters and the laggards of the market, of like the market curve. That's where you do have to start really educating the masses and getting them to kind of see like, hey, look, there's a better way to solve it with my product. This is true for B2B and B2C. It's really the same. When you first start in your startup journey, you're going to attract the early adopters and the innovators just naturally, because those are the people who are willing to take a risk. And those are people that you don't have to do a whole lot of educating. You might have to really clearly state what problem it is that you're solving and how they solve it with your product, but you don't necessarily have to convince them that they have a problem. A great example of this is actually HubSpot. So back in the day, HubSpot was really just a marketing automation platform. Now they're like sales and customer success and marketing and like all these other things, support. But way back when, they really were just focused on enabling marketers with an automation platform to help them automatically nurture, send emails, qualify, all that wonderful, lovely stuff. And when they ran campaigns and produced content and built their marketing cycle, it was specifically to the people who had that problem already. They didn't need to go out and convince millions of marketers that they had a problem. They were looking at the people who already felt it. Therefore, they didn't build the funnel up here. They built it down here, more middle and bottom. People who kind of already knew that they were aware of the problem. They knew that it kind of sucked, but they just didn't know that HubSpot existed. Fast forward, 5 years after that? Now you start seeing HubSpot creating content not even related to marketing automation at all. It's like photography and the best graphics, very top of the funnel activity. So now they're educating the masses. They're educating the late adopters and the laggards in the market. And that's exactly what they should be doing. That said, just to recap, founders really, for whatever reason, and I see this a lot, but for whatever reason, they think that they have to start with the people who are unaware and who don't care or even think that they have a problem. That might not necessarily be the case or even be very fast for you. It might actually be better to start with people who are lower down, on the funnel, they're more middle and bottom. They understand that life kind of sucks and they would love to fix it if only there was a solution, but they just don't know that there's a solution. There's a really great awareness map. I'll probably link to it or show it down below, but there's a really great awareness map. I honestly don't remember who built it, but it's basically just the different stages of awareness. And there's the unaware stage, people who just have no clue. They have no clue that there's a problem and they don't necessarily care to know. Those are the people you never want to waste your time on. Just don't. It's way too slow. It's pushing a boulder uphill. You're not necessarily going to find product market fit for those people. Unless, of course, that market is just primarily unaware people. You want to be in the more problem and solution aware. And if they're product aware, that means that they already know who you are. They just need to be convinced that you're the right solution. But if they know that there's a problem, life is painful and it sucks, and they'd love to find a solution, those are the people that you want to be focused on. You don't necessarily have to build this whole entire marketing funnel over here in hopes that you get them to the place that you want and, maybe they end up buying. If you reverse engineer it, then you can start to see like a marketing cycle that makes a lot more sense. So that said, don't waste your time on top of the funnel. It's way too slow, just way too slow. And you want to attract people who feel the pain. And you want to attract the people who feel the pain and educate them about your solution. Not that there are solutions or that you can solve it, but that, hey, look, like you have this problem. Would you be interested in checking out this? There's many different ways that you can solve this, but here's the best one and here's why. That's a far more efficient marketing cycle than like, I'm going to teach you about graphics and like graphic design, but you sell like marketing automation. So just saying. I really hope that was helpful. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope that you learned something. My name is Asia at DemandMaven, where we help early stage founders reach their very first growth milestones. Thank you so much for watching. Also, if you want to make sure that you keep getting these hot takes, subscribe down below, and thank you so much. Bye, y'all.